In the pine barrens, is Phragmites good for anything like this?
Not really. We used to use the Phragmite.
Cordage is essentially rope. You know, you think of all the things in our lives today that we need rope for. You know, tying packages up. You know, rope is something that we go to the hardware store for, but yet nature supplies the rope that we need. You know, some of it takes time to process, but just for simple tying purposes, if you're building a shelter or something, you can always use rootlets for that. But more refined rope comes from various fibers like the inner bark of trees and also the inner bark of numerous plants provide really superior cordage for us as well. This red stalk in my hand is, in my opinion, our premier cordage that I use for heavy duty uses, like actually using for a string to make a bow and arrow. And this is dogbane. Dogbane is quite abundant where you find it. And the outer bark here is actually the red part. And the inner bark is much lighter, and it's the inner bark that we want. Because what I want to do is I want to remove the woody inner part, along with the pith that's inside of this. So here, now I've exposed the open part of this plant, but it's only, at this point, it's only the inner and the outer bark that I want. As I'm going to work the outer bark off later, it's the inner bark that provides the strength. So what I can do is break some of this off and remove the woody parts. Just like that, I have my fibers, right? And so now what I do is I'll take these fibers and rub them between my hands, and this is going to break up the outer bark, which is really quite thin and doesn't supply any strength to our finished product. And so now I'm going to take this and I'm going to fold it in half, but not exactly in half, because I'm going to eventually be splicing onto these sides. So I'm going to make it a little bit off kilter, a little bit uneven, so that when I splice onto here and then I'll splice here, it'll be so that the splices are not opposite each other, which would just cause a weak spot potentially. And now, as you see, I'm twisting the fibers in one direction and then pulling them back toward me and grabbing that particular wrap. So twist away, pull it toward, and grab it. To me, it's kind of more of just a, you know, once again, a connection with nature. You know, I think it's silly that, you know, we're going down to the hardware store to buy jute twine that comes from the Philippines. You know, it's like, and you know, what are the, you know, what's the true expense of that when you're buying things that are, you know, shipped all the way around the world, and having, you know, realize that there's energy involved in doing that. You know, why wouldn't you want to be able to recognize the natural resources in your own backyard?
So if you try to just roll just one of these strands, it'll be very difficult. So when you have several, it's actually easier because of that.